Well, as your future homeowners, are you thinking about buying a home in today's market, specifically here in Orlando? It can seem like a little bit of a wild ride with high interest rates, high home prices, and kind of a fierce competitive market in some cases. I'm here to debunk those myths and get down to the truth so that you can end up on top with your home search. Are you ready to experience the city beautiful? Welcome to Living in Orlando with me, Ruth Clares. First up, let's talk about Orlando's housing market. Right now, in some cases, homes are selling within about 30 days. And there are markets where it's longer. So depending on where you're looking, it could be a benefit to you. The housing median prices are just under $400,000. Depending on what size home you're looking for, that could go up drastically. If you're looking for a 3-2, you could land around 400. If you're trying to get into something higher, you're going to be around 500, maybe 6. Depends on what you're looking for. So we're going to kind of go through that and help you see what exactly is the right fit for you, depending on where you want to live. Let's talk about interest rates. So here, well, they've been a little bit of a roller coaster, very unpredictable. And the people that are supposed to be experts have told us one thing, and that has not occurred. So a lot of times people will have a lovely saying, marry the house and date the rate. I prefer make your own rate. Now, here's what I mean by that. Right now, interest rates are hovering right about 7%. Most people would love it if they were back down to 3%, but that is very unlikely. No one wants that perfect storm again. When you're at that 7%, though, you have some options, and you can take control of your interest rate by buying it down and getting to the one that you can live with. A lot of times, people will even use the seller and their money to get that rate down, and we can go through how that'll work for you. When I am working with a client, what I will suggest to them is that they look into what impact it will have if they bought their rate down and created their own rate, let's say 5% instead of 7%, and what impact that would have on their monthly payment, because it could be dramatic and could allow you to buy the bigger house, which is really the one you want. And I'm happy to walk you through that with my Affordability lender group, and they will help us strategize the best option for you. There are a few ways that you can buy down your rate. My favorite's the permanent one, but sometimes it's cheaper if you do what we call a 3-2-1 buy down. And what that means is over a period of 4 years, you are having the first 3 years at a lower interest rate than you would based on today's rate. You still have to qualify at a 7% rate for your payment, but you can initially buy the rate down so that the monthly payment is dramatically decreased. There's also a 2-1 buy down, which gives you a 2-year period to have a better interest rate. Again, my favorite is the permanent buy down. Either way, the good news is that you are in control of that, and you can dictate your own rate. I prefer to do it that way than to hope and pray that Fannie and Freddie are going to lower that rate just for us to make our purchase. Even though they said they're going to, it doesn't seem to always pan out. So take it from me, make it your rate. There are a couple of other ways that you can stand out in this market and beat the competition. The number one, you need to be pre-approved. Kind of is standard everywhere, and I don't know if it really is one of those things that should go without saying, because it doesn't seem like everyone really understands, but you need to be pre-approved. And all that means is that you have had a conversation with the lender, they have looked over your finances, and they have determined that this monthly rate is what you can be qualified for to purchase. Now, you might be saying to yourself, I can afford more than that, but the bank is looking at all of your bills and looking at all the debts you have in comparison to your income, that good old DTI ratio. And if your DTI is at a certain percent, the loan vehicle that you're looking at may not work because you may not qualify for it. And that is no fun at all. So I always recommend that we find out exactly what your buying power is, which takes all of that into effect. And then we start looking at the houses, because if your buying power is much lower than you are expecting, we have just set you up to fail. And I hate doing that. So number 2, work with the local realtor, because who knows the market better than us? We live, breathe, and sleep it. Honestly, we're doing real estate in some cases 24/7, even though we would never like you to know that. But we do immerse ourselves in it. And so every day we are dealing with properties, clients, loans, all sorts of things. And if you've got a really good one, they're talking to their preferred lender all the time. So they know about new things that are coming on the market, like buyer down payment assistance or special loans for special interest groups. And more importantly, they're having strategy sessions on your behalf when you are just getting started, so they know exactly how far to push that negotiation. I do that all the time because I love it. I want my clients to get the best house for the best price, not keep themselves from having a life. I mean, you still want to go on vacation and go out to dinner, right? So I wouldn't want you to not be able to do that just because you have a full house. That's why we have these conversations. Another really important thing is to be flexible. Sometimes the amount of buying power that you have does not fit the neighborhood that you want to be in for the house that you want. Sometimes if you go out just a couple of miles, you're going to find a bigger home for a lower price and get all the bells and whistles, just like you wanted in this neighborhood. A client that I was working with recently had a really hefty budget, over $1 million, and then was finding out that all the houses in this neighborhood that she wanted to be in, they cost more than that. And she just wasn't willing to spend $1 million and then have a fixer upper. I can totally agree with her on that. So we looked a little south and we found a home that was almost half of her budget. Giant spaces, a beautiful structure, needed to be updated just a bit, bought back from the 80s, if you will. And with the amount of money that she was going to save on the purchase price and what she had left over in her budget, she was going to have an amazing house after she spent that difference. And maybe she doesn't have to spend that difference. So a lot of times, if you are open to looking in the surrounding areas of your ideal neighborhood, you probably could get an even better deal. And if you're open to that, your realtor can help you get something even more special. I love doing that. The other thing is, you might need to act fast. If you found that beautiful, one-of-a-kind, just picturesque home in a neighborhood, chances are you are not the only one that's in love with it. And unfortunately, I have lived this story too many times where my client was in love, just loved it. But they decided to sleep on it. And the next day it was under contract. It was such a bad day. And we've been looking for years to replace that. Still haven't found it yet. So don't let that be your story. If you see something that you think is at least a 7 or even an 8, you probably should put an offer in on it, because 9 times out of 10, the house that you find is not going to be perfect. There are no 10s out there. Even the ones that you build from the ground up, there's always going to be a little something that isn't quite right. So, murder 10s. If it's a 7, you should go for it. I want to talk about some of the myths that I hear from clients all the time. With our interest rate at 7%, there's so many people out there that are stuck, held hostage by a 3% loan that they got at the very beginning of COVID, when everybody was just buying whatever they could because that was all that was available. Many cases, they were required to put down more than 20% because of the appraisal gap value. That's where all of a sudden everybody is believing that you cannot buy a house with anything but 20% down. And the reality is, yeah, you can. You can even buy a house with 0 money down. Crazy, I know. However, if you are using what's called a USDA loan or a VA loan, you have the opportunity to put 0 money down. That doesn't mean you don't pay closing costs. It means you have no additional down payment on the loan. You just come to the party at the closing costs. And in many cases, that helps you get more house because now you have more money in your pocket. So when you are getting ready to get together your down payment, it is imperative for you to take a minute and chat with a lender. Myth number 2, it's better to wait for rates to drop. Last year, we were given some promises that the rates were going to drop, and lo and behold, they did not. But I'm here to tell you that you can control your interest rate. I'm talking about literally changing your rate. There are so many ways that you have the power to change your rate. So give me a call and I will unravel that for you and show you the truth behind what you can do with your ability to change that rate. There are so many different ways to manipulate it with what we call a 3-2-1 buy down, a 2-1 buy down, or a permanent buy down. And if that all sounds like Greek to you, you should definitely be giving me a call and I will give you the insider scoop on that. You know, buying a home today, it definitely has its challenges. I'm here to tell you that with the right strategy and support, it's doable. No questions asked. And you want to have someone that's on your side, helping you get the right strategy in place so that you can get your dream home. And you don't have to wait 10 years to make it a reality. I'm here to do that for you. Just give me a call. And if you're on the Zoom, we can do that too. Just check out the caption below and it'll help you get in touch with me whatever way is more comfortable for you. Whether you are looking to buy a home in 9 days or 90 days, I help buyers just like you navigate this market with confidence. Till next time, take joy.